G'day Wanderers, it's Flash the Diablo 4 mechanic, and I just finished the Season 13 Goblin Event in 2.5 hours, and in this video I'm going to tell you how I did it. We'll also talk about why this week is the most important week of Season 13. Now, running this event got me almost $1 billion in gold and a very respectable amount of materials. Now, I always promise short, quick guides, so here is the 30-second summary on how to farm this event. Run treasure breaches if and when you have them, but that's pretty obvious. If you don't have treasure breaches, run gold reserve dungeons and kill as little as possible until you find a greed shrine. If you don't have gold reserve dungeon keys, alternate between the PvP zones. As soon as one is tapped out, swap to the other. I've found those zones to be better than farming Plateau in Nahantu in my limited yet fastidious testing. So here's a few tips for you though. Use the Godslayer crown. Stack some cooldown to keep your horse moving, take Subo with you if you aren't playing in a group, and turn off crossplay. So look, that's the quick version. Now let's look into this in a bit more detail. So this week is Mother's Blessing event, which gives you a 35% boost to XP and a 50% boost to gold, and the Goblin Event, which is a straight up loot bonanza. Basically, what that means is it's time to use up any sigil dust you've been sitting on. The sigils you really want are Forgotten Wisdom, Gold Reserve, and Treasure Breach. Forgotten Wisdom dungeons contain an experience well that gives you a 15% boost to XP for 1 hour, and that will stack with the boost from Mother's Blessing. That makes this week a crazy week to stack some quick XP. I have a video on my channel that explains how to farm Hellworms for XP, and if you aren't already doing that, this is the week to learn. Now, the reason you want to use the Godslayer crown should be pretty obvious. That massive pool makes killing goblins much easier, especially the ones that split up and all run in different directions. Now, goblins become unstoppable very quickly, so you also want to make sure that you're at a torment level where you can just frag the little suckers as soon as they get pulled into you. Stacking cooldown is super useful when running PvP zones or Nahantu, simply because your horse charges cooldown so much faster. I actually crunched all my Shakos hoping for a GA cooldown reduction. In the end, I had to settle just for masterworking it. I also threw on some old gloves I had in the stash for some damage reduction as well. Subo is fantastic if you're solo because he extends the range at which goblins appear on your mini-map and your menu map. It doesn't appear to work any better on the new map overlay, probably because it is new. Turning off crossplay is simply to reduce the instance of goblins getting killed by other players before you get there. And disclaimer, I play on PS5, so I had an easier time of this than members of the PC Master Race might have. Okay, so now let's talk about the method. So I actually started the event with 2 Treasure Breach sigils all ready to go in storage, but I wanted to hold on to them until my team came online so that I could share with them. And I sort of told myself that if I got to the last line in the reputation board before they come online, it was going to be too bad for them and I was just going to use them. Now, as it turns out, I didn't need them and they're still sitting in my inventory. The first thing I did when I got started with this event was tested out the tried and true methods from previous seasons. So I headed to Nahantu to have a look around. I farmed the southern regions for a while and they were okay. And then I headed to the plateau, which is this region up here. Now, historically, it's been a great way to farm goblins, and it was a little better than the southern regions. I farmed it for a while before heading to the PvP grounds to try them out. I tested 2 different approaches. One was staying in one PvP zone and slaughtering everything to try and keep goblins respawning. It sort of worked, but it wasn't that great. I then moved on to clearing the goblins in one PvP zone before switching to the other and repeating that cycle, and that worked really well, and that's what I'd recommend you do if you don't have Gold Reserve or Treasure Breach sigils. So I was happy with that, but I wanted to test a Gold Reserve dungeon, which is definitely faster if you have the keys for it. Now, the dungeon I tested actually started with a kill all enemies task, which isn't ideal. These dungeons are guaranteed to spawn at least 1 greed shrine, and while you have that shrine effect, killing mobs can spawn goblins, so you want to kill as little as possible until you pop a shrine to make sure you have plenty of mobs around you to get as many goblins out of that as possible. The real benefit of these dungeons is that they're fast to complete and repeatable, and they easily outpace the overworld farming methods as long as you have the keys to open them. After that dungeon, I headed to Overshad to grab some reputation chests, and in them, I got myself a Treasure Breach key. I use it immediately, and not only is it goblins galore in there, but RNGs has shined upon me, and I got the curious coin Goblin Portal, which really helped things along. It opens a separate dungeon called the Path of Coin that's packed with goblins and chests, and has a final boss that also spawns goblins. I will say on a personal note, I'm disappointed that Greed from Diablo 3 wasn't the end boss, but the loot still spends, so I wasn't that disappointed. Now, after that, I got my rewards from the Reputation board, which gave me a treasure breach. After that, the rewards from the Reputation board gave me a treasure breach. Well, I think that's what happened. They may have also been goblin drops somewhere, but either way, the ride home was super simple. So now I'm in a position where I'm, able to just keep farming and reap those infinite rewards you get from the Reputation board once it's complete. And I honestly hope this video helps you do the same. Look, if you like guides that are short and to the point, please think about giving me a like and a subscribe. But outside of that, thanks for watching. Get off YouTube. Go get some loot. Thanks, Wanderers.